Released in 2008 as part of the Toho Master Collection, Rodan and War the Gargantuas hit store shelves, packaged in a sleek digipack. Both fun kaiju romps, this digipack is one of the only ways you can watch these films on DVD in the US. While out of print, this set can fetch a pretty penny. And with streaming as an option, does the DVD quality stack up? And more importantly, is this worth the purchase? Today, we'll be finding out. As usual, the equipment I use will be in the description. Always remember, different equipment will produce different results. Both DVDs are locked to Region 1, which includes the countries listed on screen. If you have any questions on this release, be sure to leave a comment, and be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy the review. Since we have two movies to go over, let's split this review into two sections. To start, let's go over Rodan. For video, let's get the US cut out of the way. If you are here for the US cut, you're going to be disappointed. The quality is very shoddy, with the US added scenes especially taking the blunt. It's insanely damaged, and even for a DVD, it's very apparent this is a sloppy transfer. The image is also insanely warm, which both helps and hinders the darker scenes, something that we'll discuss about the Japanese cut. In general, it makes the picture unappealing, which stacked on top of the lack of detail makes this hard to sit through. It doesn't help that this is being blown up on my 4K TV, which I'm sure makes these flaws even more apparent. Overall, not great. When it comes to the Japanese cut, I was decently content. Contrasting the US cut, this is much deeper with its color tones, something that has its ups and downs. With some heavier moments in the film, I found the deeper color assisted in adding weight, while also helping with various scenes that take place in the mountains, which help the greens look much more eye-catching. An issue when it comes to the darker color tone are the cave and night sequences. While most of these are relegated to the beginning of the film, you'll find yourself struggling to make out what's happening. Most of these are sequences of running or slowly walking, so you aren't missing out on a ton, but this also affects a specific action sequence, which makes this problem heavily apparent. Past this, the image quality is fine, with some dips throughout. Nothing blew me away here, though it's worth noting we are discussing a DVD, so there's a limit to the expected quality. There is some damage apparent within the cells at times, both blatant and subtle, which can make the watch a bit unsatisfying. The kaiju scenes here also have some hiccups in quality. And while the beauty of both the suits and miniatures have their chances to shine, it's definitely not done complete justice. I think for some, the image may be passable, especially since this is a DVD. But with so many darker scenes being almost completely lost in the blacks, I have to say I'm not too impressed with the image quality. Overall, I think it just misses the mark of being fine. For audio, you get a Japanese and English Dolby Digital 2.0 audio track, which link to their respective versions. Similar to the video quality, I found the audio for the US cut to be fairly dicey. It has this static baked into it that softens the impact of many moments, and can make it a pain to hear the dialogue and truly enjoy the music and sound effects. I will say as a whole, from my skimming at least, I found the audio here to be fine. I would say it just misses being passable. Japanese audio, on the other hand, was decent. The clarity was much better here, and for the most part, the dialogue was balanced well. There were a few scenes where the audio was just too much. An example being at the beginning of the film when the widow and her baby begin to cry. It's much louder than the other aspects of the scene. That'd be my only complaint, as I found music as well as sound effects to have the impact I expect when watching these kaiju films. Nothing incredible, but I'm content with this mix. Next up, War of the Gargantuas. For video, let's start with the US cut, as that's the version I watched through. I was really happy with the quality overall. To get it out of the way, you do see some artifacts and blemishes through the film. They are apparent, though the amount is minimal enough where it isn't distracting for most of the runtime. Color here is solid. We get some shots with a very natural palette, and some with what I could best describe as pastel. It almost looks to be blown out. And while these scenes are very few and far between, they definitely catch you off guard. Detail was crisp. Compared to both versions of Rodan, I was blown away by the quality jump. Keep in mind, this is still a DVD, and even with the crisp scenes, there are still a few that are of lower quality. But when the picture shines, it really does. There weren't any major visibility issues, and as a whole, I found myself pleasantly surprised. Getting to the Japanese cut, things unfortunately take a turn. Similar to Rodan, the darker tones make for some rough moments when it comes to visibility. I found especially with the opening sequence, I could barely make out the tentacles in the wheelhouse. Something I also found intriguing is though the image is super clean, the detail just isn't there. Scenes that took my breath away while watching the US cut looked dull and waxy. It's a shame, as the detail on both the sets and the Gargantuas are almost completely muted here. Based on my skimming, I'd say it's a mediocre transfer. For audio, like Rodan, you get a Japanese and English Dolby Digital 2.0 track. For the US cut, I found the audio for the most part to be fairly solid. Dialogue came through well, and I found that the impact of the destruction was in full force. I was honestly impressed. The only issue I have is that the music at times came through somewhat muffled. As a whole, the audio track feels as though it's just missing the mark on being crystal clear, but this is especially apparent when the soundtrack kicks in. Overall, I was really happy with what we got. The Japanese audio is even better, with the music coming in just as good as the rest of the track, allowing for a very immersive watch. Overall, I'm very happy with both of these tracks. For special features, you'll be getting the Bringing Godzilla Down to Size documentary. That's it. I mean, insanely simple. And I'm shocked they didn't at least include the trailers of these movies. Still, it's nice to get that additional documentary. For packaging, I really like it. My copy is pretty beat up, but even in this condition, I heavily appreciate the look. The gray color gives this release a very premium feel, and the material the digipack is made of is super solid. It doesn't feel like it'd be damaged easily. I also love the spindles the discs sit on, both sturdy but not too tough. Overall, this is a massive win for this release. So, is this worth the purchase? As this is a DVD release, there are some expected hiccups when it comes to video and audio quality, though in some instances, it's too much for me to give a pass on. Rodan is the red-headed stepchild of the two-pack, with many of its flaws dragging down its half of the release. Though on the other hand, I found War of the Gargantuas to be very solid, even with the issues the Japanese cut has. This release is out of print, meaning the only way you can acquire this is through a third-party seller, with the price normally ranging from 30 to 50 USD. That's a tough price to justify, especially as these are DVDs, but I think your decision will come down to two factors: quality and ownership. Both Rodan and War of the Gargantuas can be watched through streaming services at a better quality than this release. But if you're looking to own these films, this is one of the few options you have to own them physically in the US. If you want to own a piece of kaiju history, then I think it's worth the pickup, especially if you're a fan of War of the Gargantuas. But if you just want to watch these movies and stop at that, streaming may be the best option. Thanks for making it to the end of the review. Be sure to leave a comment with any questions or your general thoughts on the release. Also, make sure to show your support by leaving a like, and be sure to subscribe and to click the bell to see more from me. Thanks so much for watching. This has been Tobisatsu, and I hope that you have a great day.